Yeah, what's the fuck? What's podcasting? Well, I mean, all right, all right, all right. Let's cut the first 8 seconds because that shit was boring, and people are not going to tune into a podcast for me to go, "What's podcasting?" and for you to say nothing.
You're right. We got to cut it now.
We got to cut that shit,
and
we cannot have that in the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. We got to cut it now, and we'll start right now.
Yeah, right now, right now.
Corvette on a Sunday.
Oh, okay.
That just got a lot of motherfuckers interested.
Oh, yeah.
Motherfucker heard, ooh, Corvette on a Sunday. That's what I fought in the Gulf War for.
All right, what's some other fancy ass shit?
What do you think is the fanciest thing in the world?
Like,
you can kind of come up with your own definition. Maybe it's most expensive, maybe it's most ornate, maybe it's most luxurious thing, just that you can think of.
How about this? Cooper's friendship.
You think it's fancy?
I think you can't put a price tag on it.
Wow, it's high class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would say that. I guess I'd say our podcast is priceless, kind of like an old Fabergé egg from like Louis XIV.
But very fragile. We're both people with very bad anger issues.
Oh, yeah. No, we are kind of like a Fabergé egg.
Yeah,
like, maybe this could be something that people appreciate, but more than likely it will break into many pieces.
And then it'll destroy our relationship.
Yeah. Did I even start the video? I did. Good.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, we're already starting bad.
No,
we're already talking about the future in 2 months when we both hate each other and we both want to kill each other.
I mean, we would be lucky if this would ever get to a business relationship. That would mean there was a business.
Oh, yeah, we're not even at the business point. We're at the pleasure point.
We're at the point where if we were actually not friends, there'd be zero reason to do that. It would just be two guys who don't like each other hanging out for an hour so 16 people could watch it happen.
Oh, yeah, and then occasionally one of my friends comes on.
Mm-hmm. That would
Like
be really
last
funny if I hated you and last week I secretly hated John. Where I was like, so what do? You shoot guns? Take a video of it?
Oh, so your dad can shoot guns. Oh, interesting. You work with your dad. You work with your dad. Interesting.
Oh, so your dad can kill George Floyd on camera, and he can do that because he's a gun YouTuber. Great. And you're like, Cooper, his dad's not even a police officer. They don't live in Michigan, and I'm like, that doesn't matter. I'm
pretty sure George Floyd was in Minneapolis.
Oh, that's why I got it confused.
Yeah, because they both start with M.
What state is Minneapolis in? Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a capital.
You never think about Minnesota, really. You don't think about those states over there.
I have not thought about Minnesota in a while.
I don't think about Nebraska, like, ever.
No, but really, Minnesota. Is that on the Great Lakes? Where the fuck is Minnesota?
It's like, there's this, like, block of states where there's, like, nothing. Like Montana and shit.
Is it right there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same. It's like west of the Midwest. I don't remember what it's called. The Northwest. The Northwest.
That was my... So it's like west of Chicago.
Yes.
Okay.
It's all those Midwest states that don't really matter. Like, the only cities you think of from there is Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And then maybe Omaha. Maybe.
Yeah.
And Omaha mainly just because of Better Call Saul.
Are they close to the Mississippi River? Or are they pretty far west of it?
I think they're pretty far west.
Because I think I already told you this, but I was watching some video where pretty much all of America is in like a thin strip on the West Coast, and then the East Coast until like Chicago. And then after the Mississippi River, there's like hundreds and hundreds of miles where pretty much nobody in the state lives. So like pretty much we only populate half of our country, and the other half is the states you're talking about in the middle, and just nobody's there.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't really realize like your population distribution. You kind of just think your country looks like your country. But if your country looked like the population distribution, like we would almost just have like a huge U out of our country where like pretty much nobody is.
You know what I thought was interesting? I looked up the density of each state, and there's like a weird correlation between the lack of population density and like violent crime. Like, Tennessee is, outside of Alaska, the least densely populated state. And it's like it's in the top 3 for violent crime.
Are you saying you found the correlation or this correlation?
I found the correlation, yes. It's not from a scientist, but I noticed that there was a correlation. Because it's like the top 3 least densely populated states are like New Mexico, Tennessee, and Alaska, which are also top 3 for violent crime.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is Alaska?
I don't know. Anchorage is really fucked up, I've heard.
What the fuck's going on up there? Can they not get out, so they're just fighting each other?
I guess so. There's a weird thing with The Mississippi River does this a lot, where you block people out, so you have no place to escape, and so there's just a lot of the high crime areas are kind of blocked off by water.
What do you
Like-
mean? Like they can't cross it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a weird. Yeah, you can't get out really. It's like much more difficult to get out of those neighborhoods.
Because of the Mississippi River?
Yeah,
Historically, it's great for transportation. Why don't they catch a river ferry up to Chicago and get out of their situation?
a lot of people haven't figured out about that.
About the Mississippi River and how it's one of the greatest waterways in the world and makes us an American superpower?
I mean, I was driving through Memphis one time, and I swear I had my windows rolled down, and I swear to God, I heard somebody yell, "Fuck Huckleberry Finn."
They shouldn't say that.
They say, "Fuck Huckleberry Finn." I don't understand why he did any of the stuff he did.
I didn't realize how vastly important the Mississippi River is. Like, people tell you when you're young that it's like, it was really important, but you're like, that doesn't matter anymore. But it's a big part of this country.
Yeah, and there's a state named after
Because
it.
now you can go from the fucking Gulf and then go up the Mississippi River through the Great Lakes and then come out. Like, you can make a whole circle around half of America.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy. Our trade is wild. You know, we
Yeah.
have like a natural land barrier too, where we have like the nation and then there's like some water and then there's usually just like a line of land surrounding. So you almost have like a natural like wall of land around the whole place that makes it pretty hard to invade with boats. We got a pretty sick country.
Yeah. Some would say. Some
it's-
would argue America is number one. Some would say.
Yeah, for a while it was pretty hard to get here, so we could just talk shit.
Oh, we
That
still
seems-
talk shit.
I mean,
we learned to talk shit.
I mean, it's still hard to invade us, so that's cool. Like, that's kind of why we don't have to worry about a war on land. It's just a pretty bad idea to invade. But
We'd be fucked if that happened. Like you and me, they'd come into our house and they'd bayonet us, and then they'd look at our insides and be like, "Hey, I thought this was a pregnant woman.
Yeah, I mean,
This is not a pregnant woman."
you think they think we're pregnant?
Yes,
Oh, well, that's kind of a compliment. We're like
they thought
glowing.
they would think that we're 3 weeks in. They would
Oh,
look at us
okay.
and be like, "These are definitely pregnant wenches."
these poor young women. We have to save them, and then we wouldn't have a baby. We just keep shitting, and
And they keep raising the shit.
they'd be like, "This ain't a baby."
No, they'd be
Could be,
like, "Oh, Americans give birth to shit."
Could
it
be a
makes
baby.
perfect sense.
We'll keep it around. Could be a baby. Not sure yet. Still brown.
All right, I'm still gonna kiss it.
I don't know. I'm gonna kiss it, but it does look like poop. So I don't know.
It smells really bad, but babies smell bad. Maybe
Yeah,
it's not alive.
An invasion of America. I watched a whole video on that, and it's like it would suck for us because we're pretty close to the coast and we don't have guns. But it
Oh
would,
yeah, real
like-
smart of us.
like
Yeah, real smart of the liberal politicians to take away our guns when we're right next to the land.
yeah.
Water.
Do you remember when we had them?
Yeah,
I'm the guy in California that thinks I need a gun for the Japanese invasion, or I guess now it would be Chinese invasion. That's what I think I need it for.
Yeah, dude. I remember when the government was just giving us guns. Shit was wild.
None of that shit. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then Johnny Dog shit took it away.
Well, yeah, Johnny Dogshit first started by selling bullets full of poop,
Yeah,
which kind of ruined all the guns because it just got them covered in poop.
which a lot of people would say that made the guns better, but they have no clue what they're talking
Those people are disgusting. Those, well, they're CIA plants, you know what I mean? But yeah,
Oh,
getting
yeah.
through America kind of would suck for a lot of armies because we have like a lot of, well, too many people own guns too, and like that, honestly.
This is the pro-America propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, we
podcast.
talked about that on the last episode, but like honestly, that's when it would be cool because like if China was like making its way through the nation, there would be a lot of guys that are like, I'm pretty excited to get into this, you know? And like just 50 million gun owners would just come out of the woodwork. And it's like John was talking about how the US government would have to fight a guerrilla war. Well, China would have to do that too here. And they don't want to do that. Everybody's so worried about all this stuff happening. It's not going to happen.
Some stuff might happen.
I think what's going to happen is we're never going to blow ourselves up. We're never going to get into a world war. We're never going to do any of that because it's all really bad for trade and it fucks up the economy.
I think there's a pretty strong chance in like 100 years we'll blow up.
If we live 100 years more, we're not blowing each other up. If we live 100 years more and we're like doing good, then we
won't be doing good in 100
we
years.
figured something out. Well, yeah, I don't even think we'll really have the capability to blow each other up in 100 years.
Yeah?
I mean, we're going to have different worries. Like climate change in 100 years is going to be at more of a breaking point. Like at that point, like certain cities will just kind of be gone. They'll just be flooded. And then, I was thinking about this yesterday. I think what's going to happen is like we're never going to blow ourselves up. We're never going to do any of this because we don't want to stop the economy. We also don't want to invest in more clean energy because it stops the economy.
Well, Cooper, you have to keep in mind.
I'm still talking. So it's like we don't want to invest in clean energy because it stops the economy. And so we're just going to keep doing this fossil fuel, not blowing each other up. And then eventually the climate will just get to a point where there's like either everybody just gives up and the rich people are kind of fend for themselves or they start fixing it. But like, we're not going to blow each other up. It doesn't make money.
Here's the thing, Cooper. You got to keep in mind, this podcast released on Thursday. It's a Tuesday. You're going to look really stupid if all that shit happens that you said wouldn't happen on Thursday.
I wasn't saying Thursday. I don't think it's going to happen ever.
A lot of people are predicting, the experts are predicting it's going to happen Thursday.
What experts? John Mearsheimer?
Yep.
He wouldn't say that.
Yep, he said that.
He would not. John Mearsheimer of
the ice cream bitch said that.
The ice cream bitch?
Yep, one of our trusted experts, the ice cream bitch.
Who is that?
It's this woman. She like goes on CNN a lot of times.
What's her job? What does she do? Why is
she gives ice cream to children. And she's like, she has a lot of opinions about what might happen.
She shouldn't be on CNN.
They're doing weird stuff on there now. They just got to get people to watch.
Who's the CEO of CNN?
Matilda from the movie Matilda.
Okay. That's fucking bullshit. Fuck her, dude.
She's just moving shit around in the office.
Why the fuck is Matilda from Matilda running CNN?
The old CEO dropped out. He said, I can't move anything around with my mind, so I'm going to have to drop out.
CNN executive drops out for not being able to move things with his mind.
He can't start fires. When he was 6 years old, he never read Charles Dickens.
Turn your goddamn phone off.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of texts.
Well, you decided to start a group chat before the podcast. Hide the alerts. Come on. It's your first time in a group chat? Hey, I'm about to start a podcast. Let me start a group chat. Turn on the volume.
Actually, the texts I'm getting are from my roommate who's telling me that he actually cannot host my open mic tonight.
Motherfucker wants to be popular.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a group chat before the podcast, get a bunch of texts on my phone. Everybody watching will think I'm popular. You think this motherfucker's
People think
popular?
I'm popular. I'm like the second most popular guy on this podcast.
So I'm the first?
I wouldn't say that.
Well, it's me or nobody, man.
Didn't we have another guy?
Yeah, last week, but he didn't like me, so he went all the way.
No, I thought when we started we had another guy.
No.
Because it's called Dagnabbit Boys. It's kind of weird if you had the S, it's only two guys.
It's not plural enough for you?
Yeah, I feel like people see boys and they think three guys. But if it's two guys, they're like, who was that guy we had on? Raymond,
I thought I was gonna say Randall. Was it Raymond?
Yeah, it was
Raymond Otis?
Yeah, Raymond Piss Watcher.
Yeah.
Raymond Piss Watcher. Remember he was on?
Yeah.
He would do the forecast.
Louisiana guy.
Yeah. He would always do the forecast. He's like, you guys aren't gonna believe this. Golden showers again.
Yeah. He'd always be talking about the weather. He'd be like, it's pissing. Like, some people say spitting.
Yeah.
Like, I say pissing.
Yeah. He was sick, dude. I remember he brought us crawdads on episode 2.
I wish rain came down in one place.
Yeah.
All the rain.
Your ex-wife's house.
I'm so mad at her for everything she's done.
She made you pay. She made you pay half of your stuff. Now you have to live in this apartment, which is actually a good apartment.
But it's not a lot of room.
Yeah, there's not enough room for you to cheat.
No. And now I have a new wife, and I'm trying to cheat on her in my studio apartment.
And it's like so difficult.
It doesn't work at all.
You got to rent out like a motel in like Westlake or something. That's the cheat on your wife spot if you're a straight white male.
Westlake is a really funny name in LA because it's also the name of a rich community out in like past the valley.
Yeah.
There's like Thousand Oaks, Westlake, and all that stuff, and they're just such different places.
Isn't it funny LA has multiple of the worst Skid Rows in the world? Or not in the world, in America. The worst Skid Rows in the world are probably in like fucking India and shit.
You think?
I think I read that there's like some place in India where it's like the homeless population's like crazy. It's like 60%.
What happens if everybody's homeless? Is nobody homeless?
I don't know.
Like
you walk around Skid Row like, No one's homeless here.
If a whole town is homeless, you just have a new society to start from, I think. It's like, is this a crisis, or we're just like people thousands of years ago? Dude, we're just a bunch of people and we don't have houses.
Do you think the guy who
building?
The guy who came up with homes was like, everyone's gonna have one of these.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting one of these, and they're gonna be $2.
No, I mean, that's got to be the craziest thing of like, before any like government or like economic structures were set up, they were just building houses, and they were like, yeah, so everybody will have these. And then you're like, I wonder what it'll be like in 2,000 years. And you're like, some people can't afford them, and you're like,
yeah,
what? And you got to explain to them money, and they're like,
what are you talking about? I thought that we lived communally.
Yeah,
I thought we shared everything.
You can just go into the forest and build a house. You're like, no, the forests are private property. And they're
like, owned by who?
And they're like,
and you're going to be like, oh, you're not going to believe this. Have you heard of Jews before? And they're going to be like, why, yes.
Why, yes.
Oh, man, I am joking. This is not an anti-Semitic podcast, no matter what Cooper wants you to think.
I mean, it's interesting to say the Jews own the forests. I haven't heard that one. Look up who owns Yosemite National Park. And you tell me.
Oh,
okay?
Yosemite. Semite.
Yosemite National Park. Think about that.
Damn. It's like you're saying hi to your friend. Yo, Semite. Get your ass over here.
If I was in Israel right now, I'd be like, I would love to live in Yosemite.
They should call Israel Yosemite.
It's a nicer name.
Yeah.
I like Yosemite. Bunch of Jews on Half Dome, you know? They could chill there. I don't know.
Can we do Birthright right now? Are we, like, too old? I feel like they would give it to non-Jews.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like if you were a non-Jewish person, you're like, I'm interested. They might give it to you.
I think there were always some ways to do that. I think they kind of had that program, but maybe it wasn't fully free, I think, might have been the thing. Because you don't have a birthright, I guess. Neither do they. But you know what I mean? But I bet now, yeah. I bet now if we like, because they like state propaganda, you know, they get like sexy girls to hold an AR-15 and be like, IDF is Brat Summer or whatever.
Maybe we should do like a 40-year-old virgin type thing, but it's a guy who goes on Birthright because he wants to get pussy.
Oh, God. Wait, so it's like Paul Giamatti on Birthright trying to fuck like a
19-year-old soldier
graduating legal senior from like Tarzana. Just like Jewish. That's pretty fucked up. That's like a weird Thailand trip that seems easier to get caught for. Yeah, I mean, maybe more of a back to school again angle on it.
Oh, back to school with Rodney Dangerfield.
You know, just something where it's like
Rodney Dangerfield's in Gaza.
I'm trying to get back in touch with my culture. I just divorced my wife. I'm Jewish. He was Jewish, right? Was he Jewish?
Yeah. He was definitely Jewish. He's from the Catskills. Like, he used to do comedy there.
Where do you think he fell on the whole Israel-Palestine thing?
Where do you think he fell?
I wonder how aware he was of...
Hey, man, any Jewish person from back then, I think we can guess what they thought.
Hey, they gotta go someplace.
Hey, you know, my relatives, they went in the ghetto. They were put in the ghettos. They got no respect.
These Palestinians, they get no respect. Come back to their house. It's not their house. Somebody else is in that house. The fuck? That is funny just to imagine him just trying to like talk about like the Palestinian struggle.
What about a guy going over to Palestine and he sees like a pre-dug mass grave and there's no one in it? And he's like, this can't be so bad. They got pools. They're building them pools.
I went over there. They're all letting them have sleepovers together in a pit forever. How about that? We had to bomb Rafah. There were insurgents in the camp. Collateral damage. Maybe they'd be more appealing if Rodney Dangerfield was their spokesman. You know?
Oh, yeah.
From the river to the sea. I can't find my wife anywhere.
From the river to the sea. My wife's fucking everybody over from there.
My wife said, yeah, I'm going to suck from the river to the sea. I said, honey, that's not the... Whatever. Who gives a fuck, man?
I got in a taxi. I said, take me where the action is. They took me to Gaza.
I used to live in Palestine. Britain told me it's called Israel. What the fuck? Just Rodney Dangerfield trying to parse through conflicts in the Middle East. Now Lebanon's being half run by Hezbollah. The hell? What are they up to? The whole world is just a proxy war for major powers. Iran is Lebanon. Lebanon is Iran.
Damn.
Shit like that type stuff. That's also why there's never going to be nukes. We don't fight that way anymore. If China and America are mad at each other, they get Ethiopians to kill each other. Like, practically for them. And then that's how they fight wars now.
Damn. That's old school. That's like when you start a rumor behind somebody's back and then it gets back to them and it's like you say that somebody was talking shit, you know? And then they fight. And then you're over in the back like, I have all the oil.
Pretty much.
I got them away from the oil so I can have all the oil.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty crazy. I'd love to start a proxy war. We should start a proxy war with another podcast.
We could do that. We could do that easily.
We need, like, funding money, though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We could start a proxy war at the Comedy Store.
Because, like, we have less money than proxy groups. Like, we don't have Iran money for sure, and we don't even have Hezbollah money, which is funded by Iran, so I don't know how we're going to fund...
We don't have Hezbollah money?
No, we don't have Hezbollah money.
I swear to God, I thought you said last week we had Hezbollah.
They have hundreds of thousands of rockets and missiles. Like, that's worth way more than...
How many do we have?
None. I have a Civic, that's it.
You have a Civic?
Yeah.
It's a nice car.
Yeah, but it's not
You could use it. You could use it to run into people.
I'm not going to take my Civic to, southern Lebanon and then drive it into northern Israel.
It's not... You're acting like that's a crazy... You could do it.
It'd be really hard to get the car over there. People would probably ask what I'm up to also.
You'd be like, I'm going to give some people that are just desserts.
Lebanon's also, like, pretty hot right now, too, so I wouldn't, like, not...
So you're going back in the winter?
Like, I wouldn't, like...
You'll raise some money?
No, I mean, like...
You'll raise some money, you'll go in the winter?
Politically, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'd be noticed. I think they'd be like, why is that guy here, And I'd be like, hey!
And they'd be like, it's one of the Dagnabbit boys.
Yeah,
the third most popular one.
They'd recognize me from the podcast. The third... I don't know about that, but...
And then Raymond's already over there. Raymond Pisswatcher.
Yeah, Raymond, fucking dumbass Pisswater. Man, Raymond.
Where did he move to? He moved to Iran?
Yeah, there we go, y'all. Raymond Pisswater down in Iran now. That president don't got killed in a helicopter.
Now he's Jamaican.
Yeah. We don't go and live in a theology. Man, the Jamaican Iranian would be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Me like Islam. Me like Shiite Muslim. Me don't like Sunnis. Me want caliphate. Muslim caliphate. How do you feel about a Muslim caliphate stretching many states over the Middle East to unite the powers with their now larger oil reserves?
I get why people are against it.
So the Arab...
I 100% get why people are against it. It's just, I just think that's the best way to go about it.
It's not the worst idea.
Yeah, I mean... It's one of the better ones we've had.
I mean, it's kind of been their plan the whole time.
I don't know why we don't listen to them. Like, America is just like, we don't negotiate with the Muslim extremists, and it's like, well, have we tried their way?
Well,
we haven't.
It's also like, eventually you will. They are right now.
Yeah.
They talk to the Taliban all the time. Because the other option is ISIS-K, which is like a young, plucky version of the Taliban.
Oh.
I told you about them, right?
Yes.
They're the new one. If you don't know, ISIS-K is a new version of ISIS in Afghanistan. It stands for ISIS Khorasan. Khorasan is a region from the Middle Ages that hasn't existed since then. They want to reestablish that into a caliphate. And the Taliban, who's older, is like, guys, stop.
Yeah, they're like young bloods.
We can have Afghanistan.
Young
and they're
blood.
like, fuck you, OGs. You used to want a caliphate too. And they were like, you're right. I am half-stepping. But... now
it is straight up kind of like Chicago on the south side right now. The old bloods are telling them, like, you got to chill, and then young bloods are like, no.
Yeah, I mean, truly. So
LA's kind of, like the South Central LA is kind of what the Middle East needs to be.
Everybody grows up.
Everyone needs to respect the old head.
Yeah, because the Taliban's grown up,
Yeah.
And they're still pretty fucked up. Like, they're doing a number on women's entire lives. Just Pretty
What have they been doing?
Taking them out of school. They have to wear full face covering, like so none of their body can show. They can't go outside without a man. I think they're back to like no property, no job, no autonomy. Like you're like you're essentially somewhat not a citizen, kind of like you're a citizen in the way like a child's a citizen. In the way you're treated. By the law.
They have to go through all that just to get to no school.
Yes.
Like, they were probably like, I don't want to have to do homework. And they were like, we have a great idea.
Yeah, a lot of countries where you don't have to do homework, you're just a woman living in a devout theocratic Muslim society.
And it's like, we haven't even figured out yet whether or not, like, that's the right way to go. Because, like, homework sucks.
Yeah.
Or you want to play video games.
Or you're not living in a theocratic Muslim society and you're just being bombed by America or another major power.
Fuck.
Those are the two options. It's either no school because of war or no school because of war and theocracy.
Damn.
But either way, school's out for summer forever for the women of Afghanistan. And it's very sad. I mean, I hope they remedy that sometime soon.
Yeah,
the Taliban just should, if they want to if they want to run Afghanistan, they just have to, you just got to modernize a little bit.
You're going to have social studies. Sorry. I know nobody wants to have to go to social studies, but
listen,
have to.
A lot of modern countries still got women in hijab, Saudi Arabia, stuff like that. But you gotta let them go to school. You gotta let them show their face, at least the eyes.
Yep, you gotta have them learn about fucking protons and shit.
People like showing some of their face. It's not fun to walk outside and nobody's seen any of your face the whole day.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. That's why they invented COVID. They invented COVID to show us what it was like to not show our face.
Iran?
Yeah.
Or like the Muslim world?
The Muslim world,
invented
yes.
COVID, so we would wear
I'm
masks?
still like 100% on their side other than all this woman stuff.
Oh, why is that?
I just think that that's the right way to do stuff.
Are you, do you believe their beliefs?
I believe Muhammad's the only true prophet. They do have some like crazy stuff, but you'd have to take it in as a metaphor, you know?
Well, yeah, because the thing about the Taliban is it's not like everything they're getting is straight from the Quran. They're an extremist group, so they're taking the Quran and then
I think there's a little bit of gray there, And
they're making the gray. They're interpreting the Quran to justify certain, kind of violence.
I mean, a lot of people would call it atrocities. A lot of people would say that,
Some
and
of
I'm
it,
against
sure.
I'm against atrocities in general.
Yeah.
This is an anti-atrocity podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you think taking women out of schools and pretty much severely limiting their rights to the point of just servitude is not?
I think it's an atrocity, except for the not school part.
Okay, but you get that the not school thing in Afghanistan is not like an Alice Cooper, it's not like a summertime thing. It's like you can't go to school because we don't deem you worthy of learning and you will work in the service of men for your whole life is like their point.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were going to like the beach.
No, there's actually no beach in Afghanistan. I don't think.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What do they do in all their days? They don't go to the beach and they don't rock and roll?
They stay inside and they serve the men in their lives.
Are you sure?
It's kind of the only option that's being afforded to them under that belief system, yeah. Yeah. Which is
I'm learning some interesting stuff.
It's just surprising that you like that because not only are you not Muslim, but this is a very specific type of a Muslim. It's called like a Daoda or something like that, but it's a very specific type of Islam. That's like a more recent interpretation.
Here's what I think. You look around at America, you look at how it's going. It's like, let's try some Muslim stuff, but let's not do the whole thing where if we're going to make women not go to school, they should get to go to the beach. They shouldn't be in servitude of men.
Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding why they don't want them in school. Because what you're describing is just, okay, so it's America, and for some reason all of the women who live here are completely, vastly uneducated. And they spend all their day at the beach.
Well, women are going to learn on their own. It's just, you've been to school. It's just they teach you, stuff that doesn't really matter. So I feel like,
what about
school's out for everybody.
What if a lady wants to be a doctor?
She can go to the morgue and shit and test
just
out.
Look at dead bodies on her after the beach? So you think in a perfect world,
a woman shows up to the morgue in a bikini. Thong bikini.
And is everybody Muslim, or are we still like a Protestant nation?
We're Muslim.
Okay, so America's Muslim.
So there's no beer.
So prohibition on alcohol. But women are not at all limited in their dress.
Absolutely not.
Which is like, of all the rules for women in Islam, the dress is almost like the first thing, that like whether it's a hijab or full, like there's always some element, so that's odd to skip. But okay, so they're Muslim women who can't drink, but they're in bikinis. They don't go to school, and if they want to learn,
actually, I want to clarify, no one goes to school.
So men don't.
Yes, I do think that maybe the no school thing, I thought maybe it was apparent. I thought school was bad and homework is scum.
Okay, so...
But I just do want everybody to know, like, oh shit, Cooper going to the bathroom, he's got to take a huge-ass dump. Cooper's taking a dump on the floor, dog. But I do agree. I agree with the majority of the Muslim sentiment. Other than that, I do think women should get to wear thong bikinis everywhere because they're always at the beach. And they're always surfing. They're surfing USA.
Yeah, but you realize school is still a big part of Muslim culture. It's just sometimes not afforded to women.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, what are they... Like, how's that big?
It's like they're still known for being cultures of learning. Like, there were a lot of advancements in Muslim society.
Well, we're going to have to change a couple Muslim stuff. We're going to change a couple stuff.
No, I'm saying, like, they also value intellect and, like, research.
I don't understand why you associate schooling with intellect. Schooling is to break us down. And when it's out for summer, when was the last... What was the great memories you made a school? No, all the great memories, they're from summer and from surfing.
No,
and from going to the beach.
I have cool memories from school, for sure. Like, speech and debate was really fun. I enjoyed the exchange of ideas and learning, what that can lead to.
Okay, I guess I got a couple people disagreeing. I get it. I get not everybody agrees with what I have to say.
Well, I mean, not everybody views school as something that just breaks you down. Some people view it as, like, possibly an opportunity to get into.
Here's the thing. You go to the beach. You know what a lot of people do on the beach? They're reading. They're reading on the beach. They're reading in front of the waves.
So you think if there's no school, everybody would become smarter because they'd be at the beach so much reading.
That is exactly what I think.
Books of their choice.
Exactly. And women would be wearing their thong bikinis, but you can't jack off to them.
And they'd be...
So in a way, I feel like it would
you can't jack off to them now. What's that about?
You can't go home and jack off to them.
So that would be a new rule?
Well,
Does that
yeah.
have anything to do with Islam? What do you know about Islam?
Very little.
Okay. Well, what do you know? Just list things that you know for sure.
Okay.
You can start basic, like who's their God? What
It's,
do they call God?
What do they call God? Fuck, I don't remember. I know they got that Prophet Muhammad. That guy is what's up, and you do not draw him.
No.
And that would be another rule in America.
That would be a rule. Okay, so no more drawing Muhammad in America.
So if you're at the beach and you're trying to draw some shit, it better not be Muhammad.
Yeah.
Most of the studying would happen on the beach.
How many people are at the beach? I mean, there's
millions and millions.
Listen, there's a lot of coast in America, but there's not enough room for everybody to be on the beach.
Some people would be at lakes.
There's hundreds of millions.
Some people would be at lakes. It's fine. I don't know what,
So what happens to all the businesses? The infrastructure.
Oh,
if everybody's on the beach.
They pray.
For it to work?
Yes.
So, like, instead of going into the Department of Water and Power building, you just pray towards Mecca and be like, I hope the water comes back on?
Yes. And then it would. Due to Allah's grace.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Muhammad would even tell you Allah's not going to do that.
Well, Muhammad, no matter how great of a man he is, he's not here with us anymore.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if, we're going to be modern day Muslims trying to follow like a sacred Islamic code, I don't think we should extrapolate hanging out at the beach from the Quran. Because
Have you read the Quran before?
I haven't.
I haven't either. But I'm going to, and I'm going to add beach-related stuff.
Okay. I mean...
I'm going to... Here's the thing. A lot of people, Martin Luther, he said, the Catholic Church, he said, what you guys are doing is fucked up with giving people fucking, what's it called? The thing that made them, what's that shit that where you didn't sin anymore and you pay for it?
Indulgences.
Yeah. He said, you don't do that shit no more. And the Catholic Church is like, no, that's our thing. We do that all the time. So there's a lot of Muslim stuff I don't agree with. And I'm kind of like a Martin Luther for that. Even though myself, I am a Muslim.
Okay, do you realize that in the history of Islam, the Martin Luthers, the people who shook up Islam, sometimes it causes schisms and extremist groups and Taliban, ISIS.
Here's the cool thing about the beach. Hard to be mad at the beach.
I mean, I'm not saying militant groups are the result of purely extremist Muslim ideology. It's usually the result of oppression by a major power that's then mixed with that ideology. But I'm just saying, you saying, I'm going to come up with a new type of Islam. Nobody goes to school. Everybody goes to the beach. I think pretty soon you're going to get into like waging jihads on other countries for their beaches. Like, I think if you were in charge of America and this is the plan, I'm pretty sure pretty soon we'd be invading Rio de Janeiro to turn it into a Muslim beach.
And I don't see what's wrong with that.
A beach effect.
I don't think what's wrong with that. You go over to Rio de Janeiro, you explain your beliefs, and they're like, I guess we're going to become Muslim too. And then everybody's reading on the beach.
Well, if you could still wear a bikini,
thong bikini,
then Brazilians would possibly take to Islam. Yes.
Yes.
But if you told them they got to cover up, they'd say that doesn't.
That's like an important thing, I think. I think you do need to drop some of the more crazy shit. Like women, they can't show their fucking titties and ass. You need to be able to show titties and ass, you know? And they need to be able to get fucking tramp stamps and stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of
every woman would have a tramp stamp under this Islamic rule.
Yeah, but like Muhammad and I think a lot of Muslim teachers would say that things like that, you know, the flesh distracts you from devotion to Allah, and that's why they.
Well, that's what comes back to my jerking off thing. If you can't jerk off, then you're not really looking at women as sexual objects. So they can wear thong bikinis that go up the crack of their ass, and you aren't even thinking about how you would love to lick their little pink. Fucking...
Yeah, you would.
No, I wouldn't, because I can't jerk off.
You don't.
I would only think about my wife.
You don't choose to think those things. If you see a hot lady and her ass is out, you'll be attracted to her ass. It's not like because of.
Well, we're creating a situation in which it's.
No, you're not.
It's smiled upon to not look at women lustfully. And then when you go home to your banging bleach blonde wife who surfboards all the time, you met her at a surfboard class, and she has multiple tramp stamps.
None of this really sounds like Islam. She has multiple tramp stamps. She wears a bikini
all the time.
Bleach blonde, surf every day, and
reads books on the beach.
You want everybody's ass to be out, but to still be devoted to Allah, not distracted by the flesh. And the only way that you're going to stop that from happening is from telling people don't be horny, which you believe will stop men from being horny, even though it sounds like in your world, every woman, regardless of where they are, is in a thong bikini. And you're like, guys, don't be horny. We'd be the horniest. Everybody would be more horny. Everybody's in a bikini now.
Have you ever
How many bikinis do you
have you ever seen? You've gone to the beach, right? When you go to the beach, you get so turned on by all the juicy asses. You're like, all right, I don't believe in spirituality anymore. Is that how you get?
No, if I see.
Oh, interesting.
If I see a hot lady on the beach
with her ass
first off, I don't believe in spirituality, so that doesn't work. But
all right, let's think about some stuff you believe. Do you go to the beach? You see a woman with a juicy fucking pussy sticking out of her thong bikini. Are you all like, I don't want to do comedy anymore? That's not important to me.
Why would that happen?
Well, you're saying the same thing would happen with Allah, that it would distract us from Allah, and I don't think that it would with our juicy wife at home, their fat ass and stuff, and all the tramp stamps you could possibly need.
Yeah, but I think if you're trying to be a good Muslim and follow the teachings and follow the right practices, if you are obsessed with chasing the flesh and then probably also chasing money and then putting yourself
there's not going to be money.
You know, like probably drinking too much and then not, compensating for that in the eyes of Allah. I mean, a lot of religion, Islam too, is like, have a couple drinks, but do some other shit to make up for it. Like, God can be flexible in that way of like, I understand you're a human, you've engaged in some alcohol, okay, but whatever.
That's kind of what our take is going to be. We're going to be flexible.
I guess not the alcohol. I'm wrong about that. But
we're going to be flexible with all this.
But
Sometimes you'll get a boner.
This isn't flexible. You're just starting a bikini nation where nobody goes to school, and you're calling it an Islamic theocracy, and it has nothing.
We're calling it Beach Boys Islam.
It's just none of this has to do with Islam. Just what is like?
Imagine how happy Brian Wilson would be in this world.
Is he Islamic now? Is he a Muslim?
I'm making him that way.
Okay.
With the civilization we're building. The comments are just going to be full. We're finally going to get a fuck ton of comments, and it's all going to be like, Cooper's wrong, Shane's right. Cooper's wrong, Shane's right.
Finally, yeah. Oh, finally got a bunch of comments. I mean, I don't think I'm right in this conversation either. I am definitely not an expert on Islam, but none of what you're describing sounds at all like an Islamic country. Like, just none of it. I don't understand where Islam comes into the fold here. Because they're not. Where are people even being taught Islam? There's no
beach.
There's no schools.
We're going to the beach and we're reading the Quran.
Okay, so what if you have just random people who decide they're teachers and start teaching on the beach, but they're teaching things that are untrue, or maybe would be wrong in the eyes of Allah?
Well, they'd be banned in our Get Rid of School Act.
But I'm just saying, how are you going to control anything if you have no structure? You have no bureaucracy for your own education system anymore. It's all on the beach. There's no way to know what anybody's up to. Your whole country's on the fucking beach.
We're doing what we would call the honor system.
That's not how a lot of Muslim countries work. They just have a
Most religions work on the honor system.
Not Islam.
Well, we're going to change some things. Things are going to get different. And I'm sorry if you don't think that's the way it should be, but I'm just thinking of how do we utilize how do we take American values and we mix them with Islamic values and we create a beach utopia.
I mean, I guess like Saudi Arabia and the UAE and like Qatar are kind of doing that. Like they're pretty Western.
And we're taking them to a new level.
Okay. So, yeah, so like right now in Saudi Arabia, you can't drink if you're from there. You can drink if you're like white dudes like us. We go, they let us drink. But you can't drink if you're a citizen. All women are in hijabs. I believe they can go to school in Saudi Arabia, and their rights are okay in comparison to somewhere like Afghanistan. They have a really big economy due to all the oil. They don't have major populations, so they can invest in that. A lot of them are socialist countries due to the gas stuff.
Okay.
So what are we... So let's take that framework. Also very modern country,
yes.
Huge industrial projects, stuff like that.
So here's what we're going to do.
Yeah, what's different?
So you and me are going to fly to Saudi Arabia and live there for 2 years.
Okay.
And we're going to we're going to build blueprints for what America should be.
Okay.
We're going to put it in an envelope and we're going to mail it to our next president, Donald Trump. And we're going to say what you believe is wrong. And we lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years. Did you live there? You didn't. You don't know shit.
What does he believe?
Who knows?
Well, I think we should know, because if we're going to send him a letter that is negating his...
Okay, you're right, Cooper. Maybe he already believes what I believe. So then we'll send him an envelope that says, all right, I know you already believe all this stuff, but we have a plan.
And the plan is...
Beach utopia.
Okay. Is this a Muslim theocracy?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not like Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia has
wait.
They're not a religious, like, it's not like, well obviously they're fucking religious there, but I'm saying their government is not. They have a royal family, so they're not run by a theocracy. I
want to make it known when we go to Saudi Arabia, we're not going to be copycats and copy what they're doing.
Okay.
We're going to provide our own insight and figure out a way to run the government how they run it, but with changes.
Well, a lot of times they don't have elections. It'll either be like a Shah or royal family, or you'll have like a
Well, we're gonna have
Ayatollah Khomeini,
we're gonna
like
have
the guy
something
in
like that.
Iran and stuff like that. Like you'll have like a leader who's not really elected. He's just your theological leader, and then a new one is picked after he's died by a tribunal or whatever.
Another thing we're gonna do: the Beach Boys. They're gonna be our royal family. The Wilsons.
How many of them are still alive? Are they all still alive? I don't think so.
I think the majority of them are alive. I believe.
And they're gonna write songs about
Islam. Islam, yes. And we're gonna send all of them a copy of the Quran. Be like, study this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's important because we're making you the royal family. We're gonna give them to their children, and they probably pass down the gene that makes them write their children write epic surf rock and pop.
Muhammad.
Yeah.
Muhammad.
Everybody go praying.
Feel your sweet presence. I don't know. I was showing you that rap song from Saudi Arabia.
That shit was sick. We got to get more stuff like that.
That shit was sick, right?
We got to get more stuff like that here.
I mean, god damn. That's such
I liked the translated lyrics. I was listening to it. It sounded so poetic.
That's why I wanted you to read it. Yeah, a lot of just regular Arabic speaking is still very like passionate and beautiful. Cuz like in this rap song from Saudi Arabia, this guy's like I feel worry in your distance. I bring blessings to you, and it's like I feel worry. And still just like a lot of like what's very funny, especially about like modern Arabic humor, is kind of mixing this like beautiful, elegant language, oftentimes found in religious texts too, like with like the modern day world.
Yeah.
Of where like you saw that meme where it's like they're finding Nemo they're playing it at a mosque, and they said, Inshallah, they find him.
No,
Inshallah means like, may God will that Nemo is found.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not something that you really have in a Christian society where on a day-to-day basis you might be saying like kind of beautiful, grand phrases. Like I've never said, may God will I get to Eno Vino.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But like some people's day-to-day, you know, it's just sort of
Inshallah, Cooper gets to Eno Vino.
Yeah, and then, you know, you get a compliment, you say mashallah, which is saying like, it's saying that like you're attributing success to God. You're humble from that, and because in Arabic societies, it's if you get a compliment, it's not great, I think, to just accept it and just say like, thanks, I deserve that. You have to say like, oh, mashallah, like thank you, and I'm humble. I understand this from God, and you will have, and I wish good things on you, and things like that. And there's just so much extra consideration, you know what I mean, and like elegance and some of that speech pattern. It's very fun for rap.
Yeah.
Because rap sometimes is the opposite. It's like, I put the bitch in the car.
Yeah.
But this guy's like, I feel worry in her distance.
I feel worry, the bitch in the car.
And he's holding, I feel worried, the bitch in the car. And he's wearing a...
he has a... Inshallah, I find my switch.
Yeah. 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 A lot of guys in O Block, we've talked about this, have converted to Islam.
Mm-hmm.
They went on a Hajj. They went to Mecca, which is pretty cool to go all the way from O Block to Mecca. So, you know, there are people in the country who would be on board with a Muslim revolution in America.
And those are the people that matter.
But they're not going to be on board with the bikini Islam sort of monarchy thing.
Where the Beach Boys are king.
You know, more of a desecration of the religion than it is a worship of it. You know.
Sometimes you need to desecrate some shit to create it.
I don't think so. I don't think...
Martin Luther.
Yeah, but like, okay, here's the thing. He had a lot of problems with Christianity. I've never heard that you have issues with Islam until now. Your main issue is that you just want to see women's assholes. Like, none of this has to even do with Islam.
I feel like maybe this is kind of a Western idea of what I'm saying.
Oh, so I'm looking at what you're saying through a Western lens. Because nothing about the Beach Boys fucking bikini car wash every day is summer country. None of that's Western. I'm interpreting it. Okay, well, no, break that down. How am I? Because you made a very good point. I'm looking at it through a Western lens, and I'll hear you out. How should I be looking through it? What are the things
I
that
feel
I'm
like
missing?
you were looking at the baser point of view of all of this, and not looking at the spiritual aspects of
Well, you
it.
haven't mentioned any of it, but please go on.
There's a lot of spirituality in a woman's beauty. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, you can kind of see Allah in the eyes of a woman sometimes.
Sounds like worshiping a false idol is what it sounds like.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Because if you're saying, I look at women and that's how I find God, I think what you're doing is you're worshiping a false idol and using an excuse to worship women, the flesh, instead of Allah.
I said their eyes, not their flesh.
The eyes are the flesh.
Well, we can
These are all
agree to disagree.
things.
Here's the thing. Would you consider it to be worshiping a false idol when you travel to Mecca? Because that's all stuff. There's a bunch of stuff there.
No, because
your relationship with God is in your heart, and with Allah, it's in you.
No, because what you're doing is you are traveling to physical sites that have been graced by the Prophet and his mission, and you are doing this Hajj. This whole exercise is in devotion to Allah. Everything you're doing is to show Allah, I have come all this way, made the 7 rings around the Kaaba, everything.
How do we know?
It's an expression.
Muhammad didn't go to the beach.
It's an expression of love for Allah, the whole act of it. I'm sure Muhammad was on the beach at some point. He was close.
He was probably surfing.
He was close to the Black Sea or whatever that is. Like, they're sure. But I don't think he hung out on the beach.
Are you trying to tell me that Muhammad didn't go to the beach on spring break and saw some thong bikinis, and maybe that got him more close?
No.
You don't think so?
Muhammad was very busy.
With what?
He came up with Islam, and then immediately they declared war on him. So, he didn't have a lot of time to go to the beach. He came up with Islam, got a bit of a following. Almost immediately, they declared war on him and tried to kill all the Muslims. Immediately.
Have you ever heard of Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
They were at war. They were on a beach.
We were not at war at the time. We were attacked.
But maybe they were having war on the beach.
They weren't.
Maybe there was some guy stationed on the beach, and Muhammad went to go visit them, and he broke some waves, and he was all like, Charlie, don't surf.
No, I mean, the only thing good about the beach and the ocean is that it shows you the overwhelming power of Allah. But
that's the thing I've been trying to get at. Everything he's made is so beautiful. Even the flesh is kind of beautiful if you think about it, but you can't find distraction in the flesh.
Well, that's what I'm saying. To only focus on one thing, such as the flesh or as the beach, is to narrow your mindset.
Well, we're not going to be at the beach all the time.
It sounds like you're going to be at the beach all the time. You've only described the beach. You have not talked about inland.
Here's the thing. Some people will always be at the beach.
Okay.
We call that...
Why? Why are they always at the beach?
That's the only way they can understand Allah. It's like some guys like me, we understand the grace and the beauty of everything Allah has created. But some people, they have to go to the beach because it's the most beautiful spectacle of Allah's creation.
I mean, not to pontificate on a religion that's not mine, but as far as I can tell, Allah would like you to be a good, upstanding member of society, which usually means being good to your wife, treating her well.
Yes.
Because you're very lucky to have her. She's in service of you, and you provide for her. It's your responsibility.
That's why we're doing
many of those
stands.
Countries. Okay.
That's why we're going to do keg stands
same
with non-alcoholic.
with children, and then you have to provide for them. You got to make money, but in a way that is still somehow in service of Allah and not, necessarily against. It's not hurting other people. You know what I mean? My point is, this requires real action in life. Like really taking time, going to school, studying. Doing the work, trying to be your best. It doesn't happen on the beach. You need families, we
will have
for
families.
A society.
Here's the ideal Islamic family. One man, one bleach blonde beach bimbo with fucking tramp stamps all over her body.
What is that? There's only one you can have. You can't have more than one tramp stamp. That doesn't make sense.
It's right up. It's like
there's like one place to put a tramp stamp. You're saying
up the back.
This woman's such a whore. She got one tramp stamp and was like,
"You're saying whore?
How many more can I?"
You're saying whore. I'm not saying whore. That's your wife.
Everything you're describing sounds haram to me. You're describing it. Haramerica is what you're describing.
A lot of people would say that. There's going to be issues with Islamic people, but you get me in a room with them, I'll charm their pants off.
I don't think so. I don't think.
I'll give them the smile. I'll give them the pearly whites, and they'll be like, I don't know, maybe this isn't haram.
I don't think you could convince any devout Muslim.
Hey, what if I did this?
No, they don't like that.
Why not?
Don't fuck. No.
Why don't they like that?
They wouldn't like that.
They would love it. They'd be like, that's very charming.
You bring in Muslim leaders from around the world. You bring like Mohammed bin Salam. Like you bring in he's not a Muslim leader, but like leaders from those areas in. You hit them with that.
Yeah.
They don't want to see that. They don't want the finger gun.
I don't understand.
Shit is hot over there right now.
I don't think you. I think that is coming from a very like, oh, I understand Islam. They don't like that's crazy.
You ever seen a Muslim do that?
I'm gonna teach him. I'm gonna teach him how to do that.
You've seen that? No, you haven't seen that. No, you haven't seen that. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different ways a country, can be a Muslim country.
And this is what I've been saying, and you've been denying it.
But the way you're describing, I just think it really goes against a lot of what Islam's about. A lot of Islam is just sort of about like just fucking being devoted to something and doing the right thing, getting after, just not getting distracted, Yeah.
You got to. There won't be a lot of distractions when 40 to 50% are on the beach. They're focused on beach learning.
If I knew that the beach was full of hot, big-assed babes in thong bikinis, like packed, like insanely packed, I'd be going to the beach more. And that means you'd be reading more. No, I wouldn't.
You'd be reading the Quran more.
I don't like to read on the beach.
A lot of people do. So maybe this is a you problem, Cooper.
Yeah, because your ideas are based off of assumptions of what people will do on the beach. So
most people, if you asked them, they do what I'm saying. You're just over here like, I'm a different guy. I have all these ideas. And it's like, that's just not true.
So in your perfect Islamic society, it is men and women in bathing suits and bikini thongs reading, not looking at each other, but just reading on the beach from like just all day.
They'll be reading the Quran and other Islamic texts.
And then where do they go back to? Does everybody live on the coast now?
I would say about 30% of people live on the coast.
Okay, do you realize if you had the whole nation reading the Quran while in thong bikinis on the beach, they'd probably go like, oh, they actually don't love this.
So what do you mean?
I mean, Shane, like even, more chill Islamic countries still have women wear a hijab around like their whole head. You're talking about a thong bikini.
Have you heard the song?
What's the song?
The thong song.
No, we're not bringing back the thong song. That has nothing to do with Allah.
That's going to be the Pledge of Allegiance. But we're going to edit it so that it mentions Allah.
See, the problem is, what Muslim societies are good at is, in beautiful, subtle ways, just mixing in devotion to Allah in a lot of things. It's like we're talking about with the colloquialisms of just even saying inshallah or mashallah, like that. You're not doing any of that. Allah and Islam,
that's in your opinion,
and none of these beliefs are involved in any of the society you're creating. You got people going to the beach food court and just getting hot dogs. Fucking.
They're not getting hot dogs. Pork is not. You can't have pork.
Okay, so we're following one thing, right? We're not eating pork. That's a good start.
We're not eating pork. We're not drinking.
Don't you think it's weird to have people not eat pork, but they're also in thong bikinis? It's like what?
Maybe if you're sexualizing them, it's weird.
What is this belief that people would not be attracted to hot women in thong bikinis anymore?
Because they're so devoted to Allah.
How are they going to be devoted to Allah when you are providing them with distractions from Allah? That's all you're doing.
Here's the thing. You hit them with enough sensory input, they'll freak out. Maybe 1-2 2 days, 2 days, being surrounded by juicy, beautiful asses. And at a certain point, you're going to be like, well, that's not all there is.
No, because you're going to normalize the distraction from Allah as a societal standard. And what you need to do
Maybe
is
we just
the
have
exact
different...
opposite. People respond to their environment. And what you're going to do is create a bunch of Muslims living in bad faith. Because there's going to be a bunch of Muslims in thong bikinis.
I don't know why you're bringing up bad faith right now. Because, like, we're all going to have some pretty good faith in Allah.
I don't think you're fostering good faith in Allah. Because what you learn is that...
You don't say stuff like that.
The devotion...
You don't say shit like that.
The devotion to Allah through such practices is wearing a hijab, praying 5 times a day. You find
We're gonna pray 5 times.
You find it through those
pray
practices.
Six times a day.
You find him through that devotion. Without that devotion, it's like trying to say, I'm going to get to that house down the road, and I'm not going to walk down the road. You have to walk down the road.
Also, we're going to go to church.
Hand in hand with
there's going to be church every hour.
You cannot have church.
Yes, we can.
Okay. The thong bikini was out of line already. I'm drawing the line at building churches in a Muslim country.
We're going to have church.
Is this a theocracy, by the way? Like, is it run by like an Ayatollah Shane Bianchi? Like, is it run
It's not run by me. It's run by the Beach Boys.
Okay, but are they like a government like Saudi Arabia where it's like a royal family and
yes.
they lead it? Okay, so it's not like Iran where they have a Muslim theocracy, because that's like a Muslim country. Like,
yes.
Like Saudi's a Muslim country.
I said church. Like, I meant to say mosque. We're going to go to the mosque for every single hour. It's going to be 5 minutes, and then because like
no, you can't go to the mosque every single hour because
there's going to be a mosque everywhere.
It's about balance. Allah wants you to, you want to devote yourself to Allah.
That's why it's only 5 minutes.
But you also want to devote yourself to your wife and your children, which is also in service of Allah.
And they're going to be at the beach with you.
Because to devote yourself to your wife and children is to create a better world, and thus you are working in service of Allah. So you're either praying and you're helping, you're showing your devotion to Allah, or you're living as an upstanding citizen and showing your devotion to creating a good world the way Allah would want you to, and being a good person.
Charity is going to be very important. There's going to be a lot of donation of thong bikinis.
Well, how's anybody making money?
It's going to be a socialist country.
Okay, where's the money from if all of our industry's done?
We're gonna ask for some.
No, we could have a socialist country. People still have to go to work to make money to,
That's where you're wrong.
Why? Well, why am I wrong there?
Here's what you do in a socialist
country. We're going to shut down America, by the way. All of our electricity, water, we're going to shut it all down.
Out.
And
so
we're going to
ask,
what are we going to ask? What richer country are we going to ask than us? We also have no leverage now. We can't take out loans if we're a failing nation. The only reason
you are the one who thinks it's going to be failing.
The only reason
here's our industry.
It's going to be failing because there's no industry or infrastructure. And even worse, nobody's devoted to Allah. They're devoted to the flesh. So you just have this fucking...
I don't understand why you have such cynical views of human beings that you think that just going to the beach and seeing a bunch of beautiful, delicious asses and pussies barely sticking out, like kind of barely clothed by a thong, is going to make motherfuckers be like, oh, Allah is gay. Like, that's not going to happen.
It's not a cynical view of human beings.
You don't like people.
It's a belief in our beauty and our uniqueness, and that we adapt to our society and culture. And if you create a society and culture that tells you to be devoted to Allah, to your wife and children, to reading the Holy Quran, to praying 5 times a day, to leading an upstanding life, you will live an upstanding life, and you will be devoted to Allah and your family. And chances are most people will do the right thing. When you create a society where everybody's on the beach in thong bikinis, reading not the Quran, but whatever they want,
most people will choose the Quran.
You have no school system. You have no water or power or infrastructure. So first off, that's like a mass famine happening. The last thing people are going to be able to focus on is Allah, because all they're thinking about is, I'm starving and there's a butt in that bikini.
But here's what we're going to do.
If you're trying to set up a nation in service of Allah, you're doing a very bad job of it. And you know that. And you know that. You're living in bad faith.
So there's going to be surfing all the time, right? We're going to hook up the surfboards, and every time you hit a big wave, it's going to channel electricity to a windmill. It's going to channel some shit to a windmill. It's going to work. It's going to keep electricity running because people are going to be on the beach all the time hitting massive waves.
How do you create electricity from the wave?
Man, I'm not that smart, man. I don't know.
I guess you could put rotors in the surfboard.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That wouldn't provide a lot of electricity, and
well, there's so many people are going to
sink the surfboard, so that wouldn't work either.
We're going to make big ass surfboards. and multiple people will be on them.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, it's going to be the same. Whatever. Well, all right. The podcast is almost over. We're going to agree that Allah is great and that Muhammad is the only true prophet. Can we agree there?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, we can agree with that.
Yeah, sure.
And we can agree the beach is sick. And when school's out, that's when you make all your best memories. And the Beach Boys are good. And that's really all we need to agree on.
But you have to understand that.
Anyway, you guys have been watching Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher.
Not understanding the balance of that is going to ruin anybody's devotion to Allah.
Maybe my brain is just built different. I just love Allah despite everything.
New rule. No more democracy to Muslim caliphate.
Anyway, this has been Club Random.
This has been Club Random.
Yeah. And
you know the IDF calls itself Club Random? They're like, we just bombed a bunch of fucking kids in a camp.
That shit is random.
This shit is random, dog.
Those kids had arms. Now they don't. They got stumps.
That shit is random.
Where are they getting the stumps from if they don't got arms?
Yeah.
Anyway, peace be with all of you. Inshallah.
Inshallah, Palestine.
Yes.